يا حامل القرآن قد خصك الرحمن بالفضل والتيجان.
بسم الله, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wassalam rasulullah. We're coming to you tonight in a very special way because in this particular month we're talking about fasting, but it's not Ramadan. As a matter of fact, the month that was most fasted by our Prophet ﷺ, other than Ramadan, is the month of Shaban. But this isn't the month of Shaban. So why are we talking about fasting? Well, let's find out. We're going to ask Ahmad AlKurdy with us, coming all the way from the west coast to the east. Here we are. Well, we're in middle America, so Assalamu alaikum, Ahmad. And as you say in Arabic, kayfa halik?
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. MashaAllah, it's good to see you and hear you today. I understand that this is going to be the last time you're going to have a chance to be with us on the QA for Islam. Is that right?
Yes, sir. Just ask Islam.
Just ask Islam. Yeah, just one last time on Just Ask Islam. All right. We want to make the best use of your time in this program and get our callers to start calling in right away. But we're going to get this number up on the screen so they can call, and then we'll see if we can get them hooked into this thing. You'll be able to hear, and hope everything is going to work out for this. So, alhamdulillah, guys, the phone number is 1-800-651-4814. There's nothing I can do about the sound. We're at max, okay? I already understand we need to max out, but we can't. And basically, we're running a little different tonight than we usually do. Actually, not really, though. We're usually late, so that's normal, but tonight we're using a different setup for Ahmad, so Sheikh Ahmad is being real patient with us tonight. Are you being real patient? Yeah, okay.
Well, you got to do all the work. I'm just waiting for you to give instructions.
Okay. Well, and when you're working, you're busy. You don't mind everything going haywire, you know. Okay, so we got a subject while we're waiting for the calls to come in, 651-4814. The subject we're talking about tonight is the importance of knowing what Islam really teaches us, so that when we run into the difficulties, the hardships, the tests of life, that we kind of get an idea what to do. We've got a caller. Let's take this one caller right now. Assalamu alaikum, caller. Where are you calling from?
Assalamu alaikum. This is Miriam from Austin, Texas.
Miriam from Austin, Texas. You got a question for Sheikh Ahmad tonight?
Yes, I do. I've spoken to some Muslims. I want to see what his view is on this. Some stick to the Quran only. Some stick to both Quran and the Hadith. So I want to kind of extend the answer from a month ago. Why the difference? Why do some only choose that? That's what I'm interested in.
That's a good question. Very good question. You got that, Sheikh Ahmad?
Yes, sir.
All right. We got another caller. We're going to take that, Miriam, and we'll be back with you later, inshallah. Let's take this caller. Assalamu alaikum, caller. Where are you calling from? Go ahead, caller. You're on the air. Caller, talk to me. Assalamu alaikum, caller. Yes, talk to the phone. Hello?
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam rahmatullah. Turn off the TV, listen to the phone. There you go. What's your name?
Hi. Hi, Yusuf Estes. I'm Omar Mukhtar.
I'm sorry.
From Maryland, Baltimore.
Say your name again, slowly.
Omar Mukhtar.
Laura?
Omar Mukhtar.
Omar. Now I got you. Omar Ukhtar. How are you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you?
Alhamdulillah. How old are you, Omar?
I'm good.
How
I'm
old?
13 years old.
13. Okay. What's your question tonight, Omar?
To go to Hajj, how old do I have to be?
That's a very good question. Good question. Jazakallah khair. Well, we'll take that in just a minute. I'm going to get back to Sheikh Ahmad here. Assalamu alaikum, Omar. Just keep watching. All right. We got a couple questions lined up for you there. Ahmad, are you ready to get started on that?
Yes, sir.
All righty. Well, let's do that. I'm going to see if they just hand me another mic here. We're going to try to work this out another way tonight. Hopefully I'll do something right. Yes. All right. Let's begin with the Hajj. Let's take the last question first. Is there an age limit on somebody doing Hajj? If so, what is it? And 13 years old Omar Ukhtar is asking that question. What's the answer to that one, Sheikh?
Okay, so begin in the name of Allah, asking for His help, His protection, and His blessings. Basically, as far as the age is concerned for the ritual acts of worship, they are only required when an individual reaches the age of accountability or the age of puberty. That's when they become an obligation on the person. But if they wish to do so prior to reaching that age, now I don't know in the case of Omar Mukhtar from Baltimore, Maryland, if he has reached the age of puberty or not yet. Usually the medium range is about 15 years of age. Some people become responsible before that. And basically, if he has reached the age of accountability, then it's a requirement on him if he's got the financial and physical ability to do so. If he's still too young, he may go to Hajj and it would count for him. May Allah accept from him. However, it would only count as an extra performance of Hajj. He must do one once he reaches the age of accountability on his own. So that's also the case with small children where their parents take them for Hajj. They must do it again as they become adults themselves.
Okay, Jazakallah khair, Ahmed. All right, now we got another question here. I believe Maryam, when she asked her question, if I'm not mistaken, she was asking about why some of the people say they take just the Quran and other people say they don't. They want to take the Hadith and the Quran. What can we know about that? What's the subject there?
Okay, so the subject there is basically there's different people who claim Islam, and Islam is no different than other faith traditions in that sense. In fact, there was a prophecy by the messenger of Islam, Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, who said that there will be many people who will attribute themselves to Islam, but the only true or legitimate claimants to the faith are the ones who are following Islam according to the way I follow it and according to the way I taught the early community, which are known as the Sahaba or the companions, the disciples of the Messenger Muhammad. So that is basically the proper Islam, if you will. There's many people who call themselves Muslim and claim Islam, but they're not following that particular pristine message.
Yeah, okay, but Sheikh, now suppose somebody came back to you and said, is that an authentic hadith? And you would say what, yes?
So basically, we're going back to square one because the whole issue is
the hadith. Exactly.
Or do we not accept hadith? So
if somebody, Sheikh, if somebody said, I follow the Quran, I don't follow hadith, is there anything in the Quran telling me to follow Muhammad, to go by his way, to obey him? Can you tell us about that?
Actually, more than 50 instances in the Quran, Allah says, whoever obeys the messenger has obeyed Allah. He says, obey Allah and obey the messenger. And he says, whoever goes against the way of the messenger, then he's gone far astray, and so on and so forth. So there's more than 50 instances where Allah is commanding the believers to follow the way of the messenger and to take him as a role model, as an example, as a judge, as a decider whenever people come into any type of dispute or disagreement.
Yeah, actually what it looks like, we got a caller on the line, so let me take this call real quick. Caller, salam alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
Where are you calling from? Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from San Diego.
San Diego, California. What's your name?
Adam,
Adam. How old are you, Adam?
9 years old.
9 years old. Adam, mashallah. Do you have a question for Sheikh Ahmad tonight?
Yes.
All right. Can you tell me what it is?
In Ramadan, when you sneeze, does sneezing break your fast?
Sneezing break your fast? That's a good question. All right. Thank you so much, Adam. MashaAllah. Sheikh, we got a very important question. It just came up right now. Little Adam, 9 years old, he's in San Diego, California, not far from you, I guess, huh? And
About 150 miles.
150 miles, well, you might take a camel, that might be better. Anyway, he's saying that he has a question about fasting. He mentioned Ramadan, but I guess he meant in any kind of fasting, like in this month of Shawwal. We're going to be talking about that too. But what if somebody sneezes? Does that break your fast?
Sneezing does not break the fast, no sir.
Sneezing doesn't break your fast.
Nope.
What if you sneeze really hard? Can you break your wudu?
That is a possibility. You can break a shoulder too, from what I heard from some medical experts.
Break your shoulder. All right. No, Adam, it does not break your fast. Good to go. So don't worry about your sneezing. What about coughing? We're on the subject. Coughing won't break it either?
Coughing won't break it. The only problematic thing is if you take out the phlegm out of your throat and then swallow it back. That may cause you some issues. So make sure you don't swallow phlegm.
I got you. All right. Now, next, we're on the subject. We said coughing. We said sneezing. What about yawning? Does that break the fast?
Yawning does not break the fast. No, sir.
Well, that's a pretty good deal then. It looks like we're good to go all the way around there, Adam. So I'm glad he called and asked that. Now, I want to come back to your question there. You were talking about a number of occurrences in the Quran. Is there specifically one ayah or more saying that you must follow Muhammad in order for Allah to forgive you?
Oh, definitely. And in fact, there is stern warning that says whoever goes against the way of the messenger and the way of the believers, then we will turn him back to whatever he chose, and we will send him to the fire, and it's the worst type of destination. So it's actually a very stern warning. It's not optional. Referring to the messenger, following his example, taking him as a model is, like I said, mentioned throughout the Quran. There's so many places. Just a few instances. Chapter number 4, An-Nisa, the chapter titled "The Women," has at least 7 references that specifically talk about this subject of the importance of taking the messenger as an example.
Actually, I have some Qur'ans right here that are translated. Let's see if the translation gives the same meaning, because sometimes the translation doesn't really dish it out as strong as what it is from the Arabic, because it's up to a translator to say what he feels or thinks. So if somebody who holds that opinion that they don't like hadith, then obviously they wouldn't translate it the same way as somebody else would they?
Yes, sir.
And that happened. There was somebody that did that. I remember about him very well. I think...
I'll give you a reference right now.
Well, actually, I'm going to ask you. I got it in my hand. You said, sir, An-Nisa, that's yes. Chapter 4, verse 80. It says in the translation that the one who obeys the messenger already obeyed Allah, but those who turn away, we did not send you as a guardian over them.
Yes, sir. I want you to go back to 58 and check that out too.
5:8?
4:58.
Okay, here's what it says in this translation. Indeed, Allah commands you to render trusts to whom they are due, and when you judge between people, to judge with justice. Excellent is that which Allah instructs you. Indeed, Allah is ever hearing and seeing. Then 59 says, O you who believe, obey Allah and obey the messenger and those in authority over you, and if you disagree over anything, refer it to Allah and the Messenger if you should believe in Allah and the last day. That is the best and in way and best in result. I want to reference something else that we've talked about this, you and I, many times before, but I'd like to caution our viewers and those who are learning Islam, new to Islam, to be very, very, very careful about this. I'm going to ask you to visit if you have a Quran handy, go grab it and take a chance to look at chapter 33. And this is spelling it out clearly for men and women both. In chapter 33, verse, I think it's 36, isn't it? You know what I'm talking about?
يا حامل القرآن قد خصك الرحمن.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Peace and blessings be upon all of you. One of the aims of Islam is to create a society that peacefully coexists with one another. It is my firm belief that ignorance breeds fear. And if we want to get rid of ignorance, we have to educate. I appreciate what Guide US TV is doing, educating our public in order to be better informed so that we're not afraid of one another, so that we can all peacefully coexist. Get guided with Guide US TV.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, brothers and sisters. Guide US TV is doing amazing work and it needs your support. Running a satellite channel, running a TV station is not cheap. It takes money, it takes time, it takes commitment, and it is absolutely an obligation for you, all of you, to donate generously to help this amazing project. And don't forget, get guided with Guide US TV.
يا حامل القرآن قد خصك الرحمن بالفضل والتيجان.
فلا وربك لا يؤمنون.
No.
Yes, that's
No, this is the one. And I've got a translation here, so I'm going to try to remember the Arabic. And it says, إن المؤمنين والمؤمنات إن المسلمين والمسلمات والمؤمنين والمؤمنات, like that.
35.
That's 35, right. It said, the translation said, indeed the Muslim men and the Muslim women, the believing men and the believing women, the obedient men and the obedient women, the truthful men and the truthful women, the patient men and the patient women, the humble men and the humble women, charitable men and charitable women, the fasting men and the fasting women, the men who guard their private parts and women who guard their private parts, and men who remember Allah often and women who remember Allah often. For them Allah has prepared forgiveness and a great reward. It is not for any believing man, nor is it for any believing woman, that when Allah and His Messenger have decided a matter, that they should thereafter have any choice about their affair. Whoever disobeys Allah or disobeys the Messenger has certainly strayed into clear error. And now, I don't know how you could be any more crystal clear than that. But let me share with you something that I've observed, and maybe you could tell us more about this, Ahmad, but for the most part, I've found that the people who fall into this error of taking only the Quran and leaving off Hadith, almost in every case, there are people who don't know the Arabic language, or if they do, they're not really familiar with the Quran and the Hadith to start with, and they have a thing that they want to like show off that they know something other people don't know. Have you noticed that?
Yes, sir. That's quite prevalent, and there's others who actually simply have an agenda. They may be experts in the Arabic language, but they actually follow that type of. It's an ideology, unfortunately, and it's a you know a movement that has strayed from the mainstream of Islam and the way Islam has been practiced since the early days. So it was not something that the early community was familiar with.
Well, they were looking right at the Prophet ﷺ, and it wasn't hard for them to figure out, you better follow him, he's standing there telling you what to do, you know. And then they preserved that, whatever they saw and felt and so on, by their memories, and passed that on in written format, in recited format, just like the Quran itself.
Yes, sir. Matter of fact, the very first people who went astray in early Islamic history were the ones who disputed the authenticity or the authority of the prophetic tradition. And those were the people who would argue with the companions and tell them, we know Islam more than you, because we are following the Quran only. They were called Quran only people. So it's nothing new, actually. And those were the Khawarij. They had a very terrible understanding of the religion because they looked at the manual without looking at its practical application, which is the way of the Messenger and his tradition, called the Sunnah or Hadith.
I'd like us to mention also something about what Allah said, that He sent the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam as what? He sent him as something very beautiful. Well, it's a number of things like the akhlaq, but I'm talking about the rahmat to the alameen. That's in the Quran. All these things are in the Quran. And how could you say that you take part of the Quran and leave part of the Quran, but yet you're following the Quran? That doesn't work anymore. But, you know, I would caution everybody watching this, listening to us right now, caution. Put up the warning sign right now, because if you hear people talking about taking part of something and leaving part of something, that's also not a new thing. That's before Islam. That's all the way back to Adam and Eve and everybody in between. There's always somebody that wants to take part that they like and throw away the rest. People did it with the Bible, the Old Testament, the New Testament, the Psalms. People did that with the different teachings of any great teacher. As long as it didn't offend them, they were for it. But as soon as you found something they didn't like, well, they throw that away. And this way you can put everybody. There's a group out there, they claim that they accept all of the books and all of the prophets, and in reality they don't accept any of them at all, because if they did, they would adhere to them. And if you adhere to it closely, you find that Islam does not tolerate other religions. It's only one religion. It's God's religion. That's in chapter 3, verse 19, I believe. Isn't that right? In the Dina Indallahi al-Islam. How would you explain that to us?
Yes, sir. The only acceptable way of life that God has chosen is Islam, the way of submission and surrender to God, obeying His commandments, following the way of His messengers. And in another instance, in that same chapter, He says, whoever chooses a way other than the way of submission and obedience to God, which is called Islam, then God is not going to accept it from him. And in the hereafter, he'll be amongst the losers.
Yeah, these guys that come along and try to modify, to adjust to their own situation, you're still making up your own religion. And He's not going to accept it. So I think we took care of that one. Sister Miriam, she always comes up with good stuff. I appreciate that from her. That was a really good chance for us to talk about it too, and I'm happy about that. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. By the way, guys, if you would like to have your own copy of one of these, we're not saying it's the be-all, do-all, but it is something that you could have, and we don't charge anything for it. Alhamdulillah. You can go to afreequran.com, fill it out, and we will mail it out to you right away, and you can sit and enjoy it. Well, the reason I say that it's not going to be perfect, because the Quran is only the Quran really in the Arabic language. And in order to really understand it, you need to have somebody who is an expert in the Arabic language that can really bring it to you. Playing around like a game or thinking that you can make up something, maybe somebody studied 1 or 2 years of Arabic language, that's not sufficient. And even a native speaker, when they, like for instance, Sheikh Ahmad, you're a good example. You were born in an Arab family speaking the Arabic language. Isn't that your first language?
Something like that. It's a bit complicated.
But you grew up around people speaking Arabic.
Yes, sir. Sure enough. They used to speak a colloquial language of Arabic, which is not the classical language that is.
Okay.
It was the Arabic language, yes, definitely.
So, but the first thing that they told you when you signed up at the university to work on your bachelor's, and by the way, congratulations on finishing that. But the first 2 years is what?
It's an Arabic institute. Is basically teaching Arabic for non-Arabic people.
And even though you're Arab, you had to go through 2 years of it, right?
Yes, sir. I chose to do so.
And it worked out pretty good, huh?
Definitely. I'd do it again if I had the chance to.
Well, I think all of us would like to have that kind of a chance, because the more you know about the Arabiya, the classical Fusha, as you called it, this is the key. This is one of the big keys to cracking it open and getting into that treasure chest of the Quran. Do you know that there's a lady that was in her 70s, accepted Islam in Washington, D.C., and then she started learning the Arabic language, and now she is memorizing the entire Quran with the understanding of it?
Allahu Akbar, that's amazing.
Yeah, she put me to shame, didn't she? Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Okay, guys, the phone is open, 1-800-651-4814. Give us a call, ask your question. I want to come back now to something we were talking about a little earlier about this month of Shawwal and the fasting. What is recommended from Islam? What do we know from the Hadith about fasting this month?
So basically, we are taught, the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, peace and blessings be upon him, told us that whoever fasts the month of Ramadan, then follows it up with 6 days of the month that comes after it, called Shawwal, it is as if they had fasted the whole time or the whole year. And the point behind that is that every good deed in Islam is multiplied by 10. And this is as per the Quranic teaching. Al-hasanatu bi'ashri amthaliha. So every good deed is multiplied by 10. And due to the fact that the month of Ramadan is 30 or 29 days, you multiply that by 10, it gets you 300. And then 6 times 10 gets you 60. So that's about 360 days, which is the days of the year. So it's as if you have fasted the whole year, simply by fasting these 6 extra days, which is not an obligation, but it's highly recommended, and you get great reward by doing it. And it was a prophetic tradition as well.
Okay, so I'm happy to hear about this, and I sure am going to try that myself, working on it right now, as a matter of fact. But I'm wondering, what about the one who has to make up days? Maybe they were traveling, maybe they were sick, maybe a lady in her time of the month, and so she has some days she wants to make up. Does she have to make those up first before she can count these 6 days, or is there a difference of opinion? How's that work?
So there is actually a difference of opinion amongst the scholars. Some say that individual should make up their days first, but others say due to the fact that Shawwal only comes once in a year, they should do this extra 6 days, and then they have the whole year until next year to make up their missing days. And if they can do both, that would actually be great, because the month is 30 days, so they can do some of the days which they're making up, and then they can do the others which are extra.
Is there a way that you could count both? Like, if suppose I need 6 days, maybe I was traveling or I was sick or something like that, or a lady, she had those 6 days. So if she fasted 6 days, could that count for both?
No, it actually only counts for the intention that you have. You can't combine both intentions, because one is a debt on you and one is extra credit. So they don't actually mix together. So you either make up the days, which are a debt in your neck basically, or you fast the extra ones for basically the extra reward.
So make your intention first?
Yes, sir, definitely. As with all other deeds, you have to have the intention right.
All right, okay. Well, we got another caller here. Let's take this call from area code 416. Salam alaikum, caller.
يا حامل القرآن قد خصك الرحمن.
we'd all like to have the reward of someone entering into Islam. But we can't always be there. You can't always travel around with me, and I wish you could. But there is something you can do, and it travels around with you. That's to download the apps, and then you can support your favorite project. Yes, we do have the many websites, over 2,400. We have the free Quran and the CDs, the mail-outs of the Quran and the CDs. Also, the pamphlets, and of course our internet website, and our satellite television, and now the antennas. All of these things are available. We're making it free for everybody, and you can help me do that. You can support. You can support this project. It's called Donate for Islam. That's the name of it, and you can go to that website right there. See it? DonateForIslam.com. Support. Maybe you'd like to support the television channel. See the camera right there, right? Okay. So you'd click on that, and it will tell you how you can support by the minute. Whether it's an hour, half an hour, 15 minutes, support that. And you'll get the reward for all those who are watching it during that time. Thousands, hundreds of thousands, and even millions of people watching our programs, watching our channel, and coming to Islam. And you can be part of it. Join me, won't you, on DonateForIslam.com.
يا حامل القرآن قد خصك الرحمن بالفضل والتيجان.
Well, we lost both of them. We had two calls at the same time, and I'm trying to work it with one hand, and that's the way it goes, mashallah. Guys, just call me right back because my one-handed trick here didn't work at all. I wound up hanging up on both of you. Let's see. There we go.
I actually wanted to add a reference to our other answer. For further reading, we have a couple of articles on the websites related to the different groups that claim Islam.
Yeah.
I would recommend that whoever wants to read some more on this would go to Search for Islam and type in groups, and also type in Islam and type in which group, basically a variety of wording that will get you the answer to that for further reading.
Okay, that's a good idea. We got another caller on the air right now. Caller, Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
MashaAllah, where are you calling from?
New Jersey.
New Jersey, MashaAllah. Okay, and what's your name?
My name is Olfa.
And what do you have a question for Sheikh Ahmad tonight?
Yes, I have a question. At the second day of Ramadan, at suhoor time, I was having a piece of stomach. And I was having the whole one, so I was having the half of the piece of stomach in my mouth and the second one in my hand. So when it adzined, when I said Allahu Akbar, I finished the one in my mouth, then I put the second one in my mouth, and then I drank the water after it. Does count for me, or I have to repeat it?
Okay, let me ask you a quick question just for clarification purposes. Now, you said that you were eating a date, and they started...
Half of it was inside my mouth before he said Allahu Akbar.
Okay, but you said Allahu Akbar, meaning the adhan. They started calling the adhan?
Well, actually, we listened to the adhan on my phone, but
Okay.
for
I see. I see. But the adhan started. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Because the adhan, the adhan usually takes anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes, depending on who is calling the adhan. Did you know that?
Yeah, it's on the phone. It's not like where's our mosque.
Oh, I understand that. I understand. I'm just asking you, was it the adhan was still going on your phone whenever you put the second date in your mouth?
Yes,
or?
I finished. Yes, I finished it before he finished.
Okay,
My
let's
second
ask Sheikh
one
what's the
before
deal.
he finished.
Okay, we got that. Thank you so much. All right, we got that question. Let's take this one right here. Salam alaikum, caller. Where are you calling from? You're on the air, caller. Salam alaikum. Talk to me.
This is someone else.
Yes, you're on the air. Go ahead. Talk. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, you're on the air. Do you want to say something, or you just like to play phones, or what? Come on, talk to me.
I want to talk to you.
Good. You got the right person then, because I want to talk to you too, okay?
Okay, salam alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. What's your name?
My name is Kuntoon.
Okay. And how old are you?
I am 8 years old.
8 years old, mashallah. Do you have a question for Sheikh Ahmed tonight?
Yes.
Okay, what's your question?
How about if you fast the
How-
whole year?
What's the question?
How about if you fast the whole entire year?
Yeah, well, I think you'd be pretty hungry, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can fast all day and all night too, but you won't make a year. You make about 30 days and you'll be dead. But we'll ask Sheikh what he said about that one. That's a good question. Thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum. There you go. What if you fast for a whole year? Ahmed, is that okay in Islam or no? Let's start with that.
Well, that's actually what we just said. By fasting the month of Ramadan and then fasting 6 days after that, you get the reward for fasting the whole year. But you do not fast the whole year as in consecutive days like that. That's actually not one of the practices of the messenger. It's something that goes against the messenger's tradition. So the maximum you can fast is to fast every other day. That's the most you can fast, every other day. And that's called the fasting of Prophet Dawood. David, peace and blessings be upon him. So,
All right.
but not every single day. Every other day is the maximum.
Got it. All right. So let's go back to the sister. She was eating some dates. Her phone started calling the adhan for her, and she ate the date that was in her mouth, put another date in her mouth because it was in her hand, and she drank some water. But she did all that before the adhan phone was over. What do you think? Does she have to make up that whole day, or what's the story on that?
Why don't you take that phone call and then we'll get back?
Why don't I do that? That's a good idea. All right. Salam alaikum, caller. Where are you calling from? Caller, you're on the air.
I'm calling from Columbus.
Okay.
Mustafa.
Okay, mashallah. What's your name?
Mustafa?
Mustafa, how old are you?
38.
Oh, I thought, you know what? When I'm talking to kids, almost all kids call me from Columbus, all right? So what's your question for Sheikh Ahmed tonight?
Well, I just want to know if using a chopstick breaks one's fast.
If what?
Like, if using a chopstick, like a lip balm, I just wonder if that would break somebody's fast.
Okay. Sheikh, you know what he's talking about?
Yes, sir, I do. I got it.
All right, he's got that. Thank you so much. MashaAllah. Yeah, all right. So let's go back to the adhan and the date. Does she have to make up any fasting, or is she okay? What's Islam say about that?
Okay, so the issue is not really the adhan. The adhan or your alarm clock that signifies the adhan is talking about when the time comes in. So the time comes in at that very moment. You don't wait for the individual to be making the adhan. So that's the break-off time. You get to eat all the way till the time comes in. So after the time comes in, you have to stop eating. So in the situation that she described, it's safer for her to make up that day, and we ask Allah to accept from her. But the confusion comes from some people listened to or heard a narration that says the messenger told the people that if you hear the adhan going off, then you can continue to finish what's in your hand or what's in your mouth. That's actually talking about the time of the Prophet. They would have two adhans. They would have an early adhan prior to Fajr time coming in, and a later adhan, which is after the time actually comes in. So that's where that comes from. But what we have today is once the time comes in, you should stop eating and drinking. Matter of fact, it's better for you to stop that before that particular time period, a couple of minutes, just to be on the safe side.
So you think she should try to make up that day, huh?
That's what I would recommend, because it is a it's an obligation. We have to be careful when it comes to the obligation to the best of our ability. It's not simply a recommended act of worship, but an obligation that we are responsible for.
I gotcha. All right, now in regard to the question we just had just now, you said you knew what that meant about the chopsticks. I don't know what's chopsticks.
So it's not chopsticks, it's the chapstick, the thing they put on their lips when the
the chapsticks. Oh, okay, because I'm trying to think, what in the world would I be doing with chopsticks if I wasn't eating?
Yeah. So chapstick, or he said lip balm, which is basically what you put on your lips when they're dry or they're cracked and so forth. It does not break the fast as long as you don't consume the product. Some people like to eat it because it tastes good and it's got a nice flavor. So if it's only on your lips and it's not going into your body, then there is nothing wrong with that. But I would recommend that you use natural stuff. Don't use the stuff with the chemicals, because it's not that good for you anyway.
I got you. All right, we got one more call coming in here. Let's take it. And Assalamu alaikum, caller. Okay, speak a little bit louder for us now and tell us where you're calling from.
I'm calling from Ohio.
Okay, and what's your name?
Miriam.
Okay, and what's the question you have for Sheikh Ahmed tonight?
The question is for self-issues. If you didn't fast the holy month of Ramadan, but you did feed the Tory people, but for the 6 days, if you want to make them, how can you do that?
Okay, I'm not sure we understand your question. Let me just ask you for clarification. Are you asking about somebody who did not fast at all the entire month?
Yes, for health issues.
Okay, does that person have a health issue that makes it so they cannot fast at all for the whole month?
Yes.
Okay, and would they be able to make up that fast later in the year, or is this a permanent health condition?
Permanent health condition.
Okay, so regarding that, what did the person do? Did they feed some people, or what did they do?
For the whole 30 days.
They fed somebody every day?
Yes, every single day for the whole month of Ramadan.
Okay, let me just check with Sheikh Ahmed and see. Sheikh Ahmed, did you understand the question?
Yes, sir, I understood the question. So if someone cannot fast due to health problems, a permanent or a terminal illness, then that individual is required to feed a poor person for every day in the month of Ramadan. And that would basically take care of their responsibility of fasting. And that's basically, it's as simple as that. But I think she's asking, what does that individual do for the months of Shawwal? I'm not sure if she said that or not.
Oh, yeah, what can they do? The same thing, or no, or what?
Well, basically, that's only required with the obligatory fast in the month of Ramadan. So after the month of Ramadan, they cannot basically perform this particular deed, even for extra credit, but they can do other types of righteousness. It's not limited to fasting. This type of fasting is for those who are able to do it. Those who are not able to do it, they should find something that is rewarding that they can do. But that particular reward is associated with fasting specifically. But if they were not able to do the obligation, they're definitely not going to be doing the extra credit.
Okay, but suppose that I'm going to kind of go out on a limb on this, but suppose they wanted to feed a fasting person, would they get any credit for that?
Definitely, they'll get the credit of someone who's fasted.
There you go. Okay. We got one more caller. This is the last caller tonight. Caller, assalamu alaikum. Caller, you're on the air. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. And where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Columbus, Ohio.
Okay, and what's your name?
Hussein.
Hussein, how you doing tonight, man?
I'm doing good.
All right, alhamdulillah for that. And do you have a question for Sheikh Ahmad tonight?
Yes.
All right, let's have it. We just got 1 minute left, so hurry up.
All right. What is a janazah prayer?
What is the janazah prayer? Okay, good question, mashallah. Now with that, we got to shut down the phone. So it won't do any good to call tonight because we're finished. But Sheikh Ahmed, what is a janazah prayer? What is that?
Janazah prayer is a funeral prayer according to the Islamic tradition. After someone dies, we wash them, we shroud them, and then we perform a ritual in congregation asking Allah to forgive them and asking Allah to have mercy on them. And then we take them to the burial site and we put them in the ground according to certain traditions that we were taught in Islam. But janazah itself is the actual salah of the funeral salah, basically. Or
okay. Jazakallah khair, Ahmed. Thank you so much, and it was great having you through the month of Ramadan, and thank you so much for being with us tonight. All of you make big dua for Ahmed and his family, and especially for his father-in-law. Big dua for his father-in-law, mashallah. and inshallah, we ask Allah to forgive all of us and put us all on the straight path and make it something beautiful for us, and all of us get guided with Guidance TV. Wassalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.